Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the Frontline Changes Report for the past 24 hours for the day of 1362 for the 16th of November. There is a very significant frontline change over in the Pokrovsk front, so stay tuned. The first frontline change, however, is over in the Konstyantynivka front. So over in the southeast of Konstyantynivka, this is Konstyantynivka, the Russian forces have been geolocated in the north of Ivano-Pilia. And this means that the Russian forces have basically taken over all of this salient here. So I think my mouse is very fast. Yeah. So Russian forces have taken all of these grounds and entered into Ivano-Pilia from the north. And I think this is a move that I probably mentioned before about the Russian forces swinging south. And this is exactly what's happening right now. The Russian forces swing south and creating a pincer from the north and the south. And the advance by the Russian forces at the maximum is 2.7 kilometers. From the north is probably 1.61 kilometers. So this is, yeah, pretty significant. I don't think the Ukrainians are defending this place, or at least not very well. And the geography here, the front line is just very complicated for the Ukrainians. So it's just a matter of time. So yeah, I think Ivano-Pilia is going to collapse or going to fall to the Russians, pretty soon. So that's the frontline change over in the southeast of Konstyantynivka. The next frontline change is over in the Sofievka region. There's quite a number of frontline changes in this sector here. So can I zoom in? Okay, I'm going to turn off this one so we can see everything. So this is in the northern flank of the Pokrovsk front. Pokrovsk city is here. This is the northern flank here. And over in this sector here, we have a few frontline changes. So this is all based on Ukrainian mapping. These are all deep state UA. So they have claimed that the Ukrainians continues to advance towards Shakove in this sector. However, they also considered that the Russian forces have advanced in the east of Shakove or southeast of Sofievka, and the Russian forces have advanced in the south of Volodymyrivka. So this is a very interesting development where the Ukrainians are moving in this direction, the Russian forces are moving in this direction. So they are supposed to clash, I guess. I guess. So, yeah, that's a very interesting development that the Russians are advancing and the Ukrainians are also advancing, while the Russians previously also advanced like this. It's just a ridiculous situation here. So let's wait and see how this develop. So further south, this is where the main highlight is. Over in the north of Pokrovsk. So this is Pokrovsk city. The Battle of Pokrovsk is ongoing. We have some crazy situation happening in the north. So first thing first, so both of these are geolocations. So there's a geolocation of Russian forces here in the Ban, north of the Ban, and then there's geolocation of Russian forces in the suburbs. Oh my god, why you jam? Okay, give me a second. Orientate myself back. So in these two positions. So Russian forces definitely have advanced in these suburbs like this, moving up north, continuing their previous advance in this northwest of Pokrovsk city. However, this geolocation, I saw Ryba, a pro-Russian source, they just mapped the northern advance like this. I don't think this is accurate. The main reason is because this area here, there is a lot more buildings and tree lines. Is the Ukrainians most likely has a defensive position in these areas, including a few fortifications allegedly is around here. There's tree lines along here. There's still buildings, and there's tree lines. And the Ukrainians are trying to break out from this area where the Russians are trying to create these fortifications. I mean, this pincer or encirclements. I think so. To say that the Russians push up north like this is just is a little bit of a stretch. What I think is happened is the Russians actually advanced in the flanking operation. I have mentioned about this flanking operation for a long time, and honestly, this seems to be a much easier place to advance. They just need to go through one tree line along the highway, a second tree line, a third tree line, and then they'll reach here. And this area here is, I don't think it's very defendable for the Ukrainians, which is why I think the Russians basically have penetrated through this sector here. The advance here is around 4 kilometers, 4.3 kilometers. If they have advanced from the south, it's a shorter distance, it's around 2.8 kilometers, but they will have to go through certain very contested places where the Ukrainians reinforcement and counter-attacks is coming from the Hulyaipole direction. And the fact that you can see that this geolocation, this is pretty near, this is not that far, clearly shows that the Russians are still battling in this region. The advance here is less than a kilometer, around 700 meters, 800 meters around there. So this is why I think the attack, this geolocation actually comes from the east. So this is going to be a drastic difference, I believe, from DPA's mapping and our perspective of the situation in this northern flank of the Pokrovsk city versus other mappers or other Ukraine war reporters. So I just want to explain how I come about to these conclusions, because this northern flanking operation I've mentioned for forever. So I think this is logical. So and the fact that the Ukrainians have positioned at Rivne, they probably have the town here. A Russian push in this from this area here would also seems to be a bit not very, very likely. That's my opinion, as the Ukrainian forces would be very busy with keeping the route of communication open around here. But we shall see how this goes. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just simply a straightforward northern push from the northern flank of the Pokrovsk city. Who knows? But yeah, so that's just want to highlight this. So this some very major frontline change in this northern flank, and regardless, this is definitely creating a much bigger salient than before. However, just want to note this geolocation is Russian forces getting attacked by drones dropping grenades. So it's not or mortars. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Definitely, this is not a firm position, but the Russians are making this push. That's my opinion. You can think otherwise. It is okay. It's okay. But I don't think this is going to last very long unless the Russians have a very firm position in this sector. So I think this is going to change again. So don't hold your breath. You might die. So that's all from the Pokrovsk city. The next frontline change is over in the Hulyaipole sector, Hulyaipole, in the Rivnopia Yablukove region. So according to the Russian mapping, around Rivnopia and Yablukove, so let me put this back first. Russian forces have the Russian mapping have mapped that the Russian forces have the full fortification south of Yablukove, and there's a more expanded zone of control in the north of Rivnopia. So yeah, so these just some very basic changes. These are all claims, so these not corroborated. The northern one is around almost 1 kilometer, maybe 900 meters. The one in the south advanced at maximum is merely 300 meters. So small changes. So that's all for the frontline changes at the Hulyaipole sector. And that's all the frontline changes in the past 24 hours. Let's put the Pokrovsk as a background because this is fascinating. And let's do some calculation. So the Russians yesterday captured 30.33. Today is definitely not going to meet that because we don't have that many frontline changes. 5.18 plus 5.71 plus 1.84. Total area captured is 12.73 square kilometers. Whoops. 3 square kilometers. So the Ukrainians captured 0.45 yesterday. Today is 0.38. So it's still in the Sharkove region. So let's see. So that's all. Thank you for watching. Happy birthday to you. If your birthday today, press the like button, subscribe. Check out the DPA Open Mic. We have fantastic conversations on the Ukraine war. We talk a lot about it. So check it out, and I'll see you guys in the next update.